You read a page of a manual, recognize the words, and assume you've learned the material. Psychologists call this the illusion of competence. Staring at a textbook or scrolling through a corporate handbook feels productive in the moment, but because the information is simply washing over you, the brain fails to build long-term neural connections. To permanently encode data, the brain requires cognitive friction. It has to be actively forced to retrieve information from memory. True learning demands the resistance of being tested. That effort is what turns passive absorption into active mastery. The problem is logistical. Building a 7th grade geometry quiz or designing a barista level 1 certification exam from scratch requires massive amounts of time and manual labor. Because generating this necessary cognitive friction is so difficult, managers and students frequently take the path of least resistance. They default back to passive reading. The difficulty of generating these materials often stops active recall from happening at all, leaving passive reading as the default. ZEP Quiz operates as a centralized solution built specifically to eliminate this bottleneck in test creation. Look at this network. It maps a community-driven database containing over 800,000 free public quizzes. The diversity of the content is vast. The database covers rigorous academic subjects like high school calculus and physical science, right alongside pop culture topics like New Jeans trivia. For almost any subject you need to study, the necessary cognitive friction already exists on the platform. You simply copy it to your personal library and start testing. Let's examine how these tests actually force the brain to work, using a corporate onboarding and leadership training module as our example. Here we see a standard true-false interface. The user is forced into a binary choice, stripped of context clues. Shifting to multiple choice demands comparative analytical thinking. To distinguish leadership development from compliance training, the brain must actively evaluate and eliminate competing options. These forced interactive moments succeed where reading fails. By demanding an answer, the platform triggers the specific neural retrieval needed to move information into long-term storage. Different subjects require different styles of active recall. Because learning is complex, the testing interface has to be highly modular. This animation shows the platform's flashcards feature in action. By transforming a standard quiz into a flippable deck, users can engage in rapid, spaced repetition, which is highly effective for retaining material like SNU vocabulary. When you need to study off-screen, the worksheet feature converts any digital quiz into a printable PDF, adapting the material for tactile learning environments. Users can also adjust the psychological stakes of the test. Toggles that allow incorrect answers or hide the correct solutions create a low-pressure environment that encourages safe trial and error. ZEP Quiz operates as a highly customizable engine where users manipulate the exact type of cognitive friction they need for the task at hand. Effective learning is an active, continuous system. It is not a phase of life you age out of. From foundational 7th grade grammar to 9th grade U.S. history to specialized adult barista certifications and professional corporate compliance training. Since the process of forming memories doesn't change with age, the same engine for active recall remains useful at every stage of a learner's development. True knowledge requires active engagement. The illusion of passive consumption will always leave you with gaps in your memory. Log in to ZEP Quiz today. Explore the database of over 800,000 public quizzes and copy one to your own library to build your active recall engine. Stop reading and start retaining.